Legislative process. A revenue bill is proposed by a House member in the House of Representatives. It is then presented to Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. He can kill it if he wants to, but he rarely does this. Most of the time, he sends it to the Rules Committee, where they set limits on debate and amendment. 99.4% of all bills make it out of the Rules Committee. It is then sent to the Ways and Means Committee if it is a revenue bill, where it can be pigeonholed by Chairman Kevin Brady, a Republican. Very rarely does he do this. He oftentimes sends it to the subcommittee, where they mark it up and become experts on the topic. After they're done, they send it back out to the main Ways and Means Committee for amendments and final approval. 11.7% of bills make it out of the committee if they are given the yes. It is then sent back to the Rules Committee, where they set rules for House debate. Once they set the rules, it goes back to the House floor for debate and amendment. Whips Steve Scalise of the majority Republicans and Steny Hoyer of the minority Democrats, and leaders Kevin McCarthy of the majority Republicans and Nancy Pelosi of the minority Democrats work to get their party's support or disapproval on any bills. After going through the House, it then goes over to the Senate, where it goes through Rules Committee, the Senate Finance Committee, and undergoes floor debate where it can be filibustered, unlike the House. All the while, party leaders majority Mitch McConnell, minority Chuck Schumer, and whips majority John Cornyn and minority Dick Durbin work to get their party's disapproval or support on the bill. Then 11.7% of the bills get a yes in the Senate. If they get a yes, they are sent to conference committee, where the House and the Senate work together to iron out kinks and create a final bill. After this final bill is created, it is sent over to the entire Congress, where a quorum call is had to vote on the bill. It needs a simple majority in both houses, so 218 votes in the House and 51 votes in the Senate. If it is approved, which 6.5% are, it goes to the President, where it can either be vetoed or have a pocket veto where he lets it run out at the end of a period, or he can sign it. And if he does not touch it after a 10-day period, it becomes law. If he decides to veto it, it is sent back to Congress, where it must be passed by a 2/3 vote in both houses. If it gets that 2/3 vote, or that signature by the President, it is approved, where 5.7% of the initial bills go to the bureaucracy for implementation. If it gets that final approval and is sent to the bureaucracy for implementation, a revenue bill is sent to the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, which is led by John Koskinen. The IRS is an independent executive agency under the executive branch. The IRS would then apply the tax to citizens and/or corporations in their tax forms. Throughout this process, the iron triangle is happening between Congress, bureaucracy, and interest groups. Bureaucracy gives interest groups low regulation and special favors in exchange for congressional support and lobbying. Congress gives bureaucracy funding and political support, while the bureaucracy gives back policy choices and execution of the Congress's laws. Congress gives interest groups friendly legislation and oversight when the interest groups help the congressmen and women get elected to office.